All right. Welcome, everyone, the post-lunch crowd. Hopefully, I don't put you fully to asleep, but I know a lot of you are here because there's a really cool title that I put up here, 10 Steps of 8, A Method for Madness. And just a little introduction. My name is Kevin Lee. I'm at Pepperdine University and the team leader of AV Technologies. I'm wearing the exact same shirt here right now. So I know my wardrobe needs a little sprucing up. But just to go over what AVT is in our school. So we're the audiovisual technologies, and it falls under the umbrella of IT. I know some schools are AV separate and IT separate, but for us, we're all part of the same department. And AVT's primary responsibilities are just classroom support and event support. Just to give you a little background of what we do, AV support at Pepperdine, we have currently 3 technicians, and that cover hundreds of classrooms and thousands of faculty. So how can our AVT team keep track of chronic issues and resolutions? Chronic issue resolutions among the sea of noise and so-called the madness. So we came up with a little method that's simple, transparent, and quite frankly, a little memorable to monitor overarching problems without losing the focus of day-to-day support. So there's 3 things that we kind of tend to focus our attention on, and that's data-driven, we're efficient and effective. And just to kind of expand a little bit, in terms of data, we love our data at Pepperdine. And we're an Extron school, so we utilize GVE, the Global Viewer Enterprise, that monitors classroom usage, which, little plug for the next session. We'll kind of be going over that. But we also get a lot of phone and ticket data that just compiles over time. Very similar like problems and issues that it just keeps piling up. So we have a good idea of what the common issues are at our school. In terms of how we're efficient, with 3 people currently, technicians, and a pretty big school, a campus, we're all over the place, whether someone's in the office, someone's on the grad campus, which is up basically a huge mountain, or there's like other classrooms. So our technicians just need to be aware of who's scheduled where, what they're in charge of, what they're doing. Being able to communicate with each other is like vital in terms of, hey, we got a phone call, who's nearby, if we're just trying to figure out all of that while not knowing where all our technicians are located. I think that can cause some delays and issues and some unhappy faculty. But we're pretty good at being able to communicate in that sense. Effectiveness, just like I said with the data, we collect a lot of data, so just knowing and understanding how to troubleshoot just common issues, I think is essential for us. And not only that, as we learn more and more about these issues, we're able to actually clearly document maybe how to use a room properly, how to use a specific device properly, and being able to provide that so that the faculty or staff or whoever is using those spaces are able to be self-sufficient. And we also provide in-person trainings, or what we call tech checks, for people. So those are the kind of the 3 like pillars that our AVT technicians do at Pepperdine. So a little icebreaker just to kind of wake everyone up after the food. I call this little icebreaker AV Anonymous, a little AA, because who doesn't have a bunch of stories to tell? So you can pair up with someone next to you or someone nearby. If we can just share a story of a time when a client reported an AV issue, but you had a hard time deciphering what they were trying to describe. how did you really figure out what was going on? Maybe just maybe share stories of like crazy stories or things that like kind of drove you mad. So maybe just pair up with whoever's near you. I'll give you like a couple minutes, talk about it. Maybe one or two people can share their experiences. So I'll give you that.
Reset our expectations and be like, what are you talking about? And that's like one of my
How do you try to like navigate that? Get to the root cause.
yeah, or figure out what she's even saying. Like we weren't even speaking the same language at that point, so that was strange, weird.
First, the three main things is the main thing is where are you?
Right. Right. They want you there.
Some brief description of the problem. Determine there might be an opportunity to remotely do something right there.
Yeah.
Versus
Did you turn it off or back
right.
on?
And we like to try to collect, their name just so we can get a sense. And that's like the icing on top. Just so we can
911 contact information. That's the same thing. It's always
there are so many times where
And then you're like, is it the projector screen or the one in front of you? And then you figure out which one it is, and it's like, okay, is the projector screen like blue, or is it like not on, or like what? So you ask like the follow-up questions.
Right.
And then I have like a sticky note on my monitor that says Windows P. To change the display, I'm like, can you just like hit the Windows and the P key at the same time? Just tell me what it says. What mode are you on right
Like,
now?
is your device actually on? Or like,
Yeah. So sometimes it's a mix of, professors not being able to describe the issue, and then the combination of having students that are not asking more questions because we're afraid that they don't want to upset the professors. So they don't want to ask more questions. They just say, okay, we'll send someone. It's like, but
It would have been faster if it was Windows P for them to just do it and they could just get to their class and you have to wait.
yeah.
so that's the tricky part sometimes.
Well,
It's
we
kind of two parts.
exactly. Yeah, that our ticketing system, we literally have like I need to know the name. I need to know what class you're in. Who is the student?
I'll give you guys about another minute, and then we can share.
That's pretty fun. This is just getting through people's panic.
Yeah, cutting through that emotion for sure. Yeah.
Like, we can figure it out. I promise. It'll be okay.
I know. Or like you try to talk to them over the phone, they're like, I just need someone here now.
Right. I can totally believe that too, because they're like looking at you. They're looking at you.
Yeah. And then when you come in, everyone's looking at you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm like, oh, your computer was just off. How do you not embarrass it?
I know. They're so freaked out. They're so freaked out.
I did this one call faculty member call electric screen, you turn the thing on automatically.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard.
I can't get it to come down. And so I walk over to the room, I walk in, and she's like, the screen's not coming down. Okay, we'll figure this out. The screen.
All right, I think we'll start wrapping up here.
There we go.
All right. Well, that was great. Seems like everyone is awake. So I would be very interested to hear some examples or stories if someone wants to share. Anybody?
I think the common thing is just knowing the right terms.
Yes.
Somebody will call up and say the computer's, we were just talking, the computer's not working.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
The reality was the confidence monitor that's on the podium, somebody turned it off. Which no one's supposed to touch that, it's always supposed to be on. But their description of the problem is the computer's not working.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything's working except that monitor's turned off. And I'm sure you all know, just replace computers not working with any other device in the system.
Oh yeah.
And just the mismatch of terminology that people use to describe the issue.
yeah, I don't know about you guys, that's definitely a common issue for us. Or the computer is just off. Like, it's like nothing's on, everything's black. It's like, did you turn on the computer? It's like,
I don't want to disparage Mac users, but it's the background image of my computer, but
yes.
I don't see anything. It's not showing my mouse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've heard that one too. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else? There's someone on this side.
Because you mentioned terminology and stuff.
Yeah.
You get even like we're getting feedback, you know, and that can mean so many different things to so many people.
Yeah.
You know, it could be echoing because someone has a microphone out of a room, or it could be actual feedback. But
Yeah.
you never know what that means until sometimes you have to go into the space.
Exactly. Yeah. All very common issues. We probably all have experienced it at one point or another. So thank you all for participating in that and sharing. So as the title of this presentation is, Method for Madness. So the madness is basically what we talked about, right? When a series of frantic calls or emails begin to accumulate and just a recurring issue just gets reported constantly, it's frustrating for both client, faculty, but also for the technician, because it's like, we just fixed that. Like, what could be wrong? Like, it's the same exact thing that you reported yesterday. But the challenge, intensifies when there needs to be an answer, honestly. And it's sometimes really hard to just articulate and be clear to whoever the faculty, staff, whoever is using those spaces may be. And, the answers could be very elusive. It could be very general. A lot of times we just kind of unplug and plug it back in. And it's like, it's working. Call me back if it goes down again. But for us, we want to kind of go look a little deeper and try to resolve. It could be more of a chronic issue. So that's kind of like the madness that we're going to be talking about. How do we resolve this problem effectively? So what is the goal of this, the 10 steps? This framework ensures that ensures a consistent and high quality troubleshooting experience through its structured approach to successful resolution. So you guys might be doing this already. As we're going through, you'll be like, yeah, I do that. But this is just more of a way to visualize and see. It's like, oh yeah, that's a good way of explaining the process of troubleshooting. So the 10 steps of 8. Here we go. So articulate, replicate, isolate, ideate, evaluate, validate, integrate, moderate, celebrate. It was hard to find all the 8 words, but we somehow did it. But I will be kind of sharing a story that Pepperdine kind of went through in terms of like one of the chronic issues that we experienced. And I will go through each step and kind of like what we did through that. So forgive me, I am a millennial. I love memes. So there will be a lot of memes like this. So step 1, articulate. So kind of giving you the start of the story just to kind of frame how this all kind of began. Kind of like what you guys are sharing, we were hearing a bunch of different reports, specifically from this communication building that we have on our campus. But we're hearing different reports from different faculty, from different rooms within that building, all kind of saying basically the audio is not working, or it's just not playing right when I start the video. The video's going, but there's no like audio or sound that comes out. It takes about like 3 to 5 seconds for anything to start popping up. So, and then some people have reported that even it starts in the beginning of class, but some people reported it happens in the middle of class. So that's a lot of broad and general information that is kind of hard to decipher what the actual problem is. So to be able to ask questions to narrow down the specific problem, right? That's something that we have to really articulate and be able to find out, like, what are you trying to say? Like, I know the audio's not broken because it starts playing after 5 seconds. So what's really going on? So we got to ask specific questions. Some, like, for example, it could be like, does this happen to all devices? Does it happen to just this room, or is it with any specific type of audio? So questions like that we would kind of ask and be able to try to figure out what the actual problem is, essentially. So step 2, replicate. Okay, so we get the problem, we hear everyone out, we're like, all right, we see the tickets flooding in. We're like, all right, let's try to see if we can replicate what they're experiencing. So what we did, we were able to go in to these rooms and to that specific building, all the rooms that they've reported that issue, and lo and behold, there was an actual problem. So what they were reporting was right. So when they say it happens in the beginning of class, I'm usually there at 7 a.m. So what I did was I came in, I turned on the computer, I opened YouTube, and I played something, and yeah, you see the video moving, you see their mouths moving, but there's no audio. And then 5 seconds later, boom, like audio's a full blast. So we're like, okay, I guess that's something that we were, understandable why professors were getting frustrated, faculty were getting frustrated with that, because they want to be able to teach their class without any interruption. But the other half of that was like, well, some people have reported that it's happening in the middle of class. So we were trying to find like time to just let it run for, 20, 30 minutes just to see if it does it again. And it actually did. So we're getting all this information. We're trying to replicate. Now that we've replicated what people have been reporting, we go on to the next step, which is actually probably the hardest part of all the 10 steps. And it's to isolate, diagnose the root cause of the problem. I love this Yoda one. So our AV systems have, we have these switcher processors that have like amps built in, but we also have another amp, these lap drop-in Lucia amps that we have just for like redundancy's sake. And sometimes some of the classrooms actually require those amps to be able to play some of the things that they have. So as we were looking through, with the help of the vendors, manufacturers, we were just asking everybody because we had no idea why this was happening. We've pulled out cables. Maybe it's a bad cable. Maybe it's, some setting on the PC or their laptop. So we were trying all these things, but for us, with the help of LabGruppen and our very good technician right here, Kiana, who submitted a ticket to the manufacturer saying like, hey, like, why is this happening? We found out that there's like an eco mode on these like Lucia amps. We're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, it's like after 20 minutes of audio inactivity, it just goes to sleep, and you have to kind of wake it up by playing another audio bit. Which explains why in the middle of the class, if the professor's not touching the laptop at all, there's no sound or audio going, then it goes back to eco mode, and then you have to play something again for it to reactivate or wake up. So that's how we were able to isolate. This part honestly took us almost like several weeks, a month to like figure out. We were trying different things, trying to figure out what the issue is, which I guess kind of step 3, step 4 kind of can be paired together, and it's just to kind of brainstorm like what the possible solutions could be. So like I mentioned before, we're at Extron School. We have those switcher processor units that have an amp built into it. It's like so we thought maybe can we just bypass the Lucia amp and just use that? That was like one of our options or possible solutions. Another one that we thought of is like, can we integrate like a script to run as soon as the PC turns on, like to just set off some kind of like chime to like have an audio bit to play to kind of wake up the eco mode. Or like worst case scenario, should we just buy all new amps? Is it broken? Is it something that maybe the integrators did wrong? Like, I don't know. So that was like, it's a stupid solution, but it is a solution. But we ended up just reaching out to the manufacturer and they gave us the best answer. Step 5, we've brainstormed, we've kind of isolated the issue, the root cause, or what we think is the root cause, and we evaluate. When you investigate ideas and come up with a plan to test solutions. So for us, and for in general, there actually can be multiple solutions. Like it's not wrong. There's not always going to be just one. There could be multiple ways of being able to figure out and resolve those issues. So when we bypassed the Lucia amp and went directly into our processor switcher unit, it did work. And there was no delay, and it turned audio came on like pretty immediately. It took maybe like half a second for it to like work. But it is a solution. But also, as we heard back from the manufacturer, Lapgruppen, they gave us an actual solution that we couldn't find in the manual. Actually, we like looked online. We tried to look everywhere. We tried to ask the integrators. They didn't know either. They're like, maybe it's a captive screw cable issue or something. But they just told us, oh, there's a little hole in the back of the Lucia amps. You just click it 5 times and it'll disable it. I'm like, really? Like, that's not very intuitive. But it did do the trick. And that way, for us, as we're evaluating, we gotta see which method and which solution is probably the best method for us to move on to kind of go with. They both work, but for us to have to unplug everything from the Lucia amp and try to bypass everything and try to learn how to do all of that and try to teach all our 5 technicians at the time to go all to hundreds of classrooms just to bypass all of that seemed a little tedious and difficult, especially around the time it was in the middle of the semester. So it was really hard for us to find the time either to go before class or like a 10-minute window between classes. So what we ended up doing is doing that little 5-tap disabling of the Lucia amp. So that's pretty quick. We can spread out, I don't know, like 20 classes per technician throughout the week. We finished it in a week, so it's essentially. So that was our way of figuring this out. We don't need to do that. So step 6, validate. So for us, as we validate, we conduct tests on viable solutions. We have the solutions that Lapgruppen, the manufacturer, gave us. So what we did was, at first, we chose 4 classrooms, especially in the ones that were reporting those specific issues. We chose them. We notified the faculty, the department. We're like, hey, we're going to use these as kind of like the control group. And you let us know. You give us feedback on, like, is it still happening? Like, is something else happening? Or is nothing happening? Did it fix it? So we're just kind of gave it some time just to see if there was any new patterns or any different reports. Hopefully what they told us, because what we've tested in the evaluating stage, that it did work. It did once we disabled eco mode. So we're just hoping that it would be reflected in those 4 classrooms that we chose. Step 7, so integrate. to determine the best course of action and execute the fix to all affected systems. And usually, depending on what the validation stage was like, if it's like a bigger scale, for us, luckily it wasn't. It was just a quick, our technicians can resolve this issue. But if it ends up being like, we need to do like a complete overhaul, then you need to collaborate with vendors and maybe your project management team, the departments and the faculty, and being able to like move people around. So for us, in our example, our technicians, our AVT technicians, were able to just do it on our own. Saved us a bunch of money. I know we were all going through budget issues, right? So that was a huge help. And so as we integrated, we didn't actually hear back from any of the professors from the control group, those 4 classrooms. We didn't really get much feedback, so I guess that's a good sign, because we were getting constant like tickets saying like, hey, the audio's not working, and suddenly they just stopped saying anything. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a good thing. So as we just continue to monitor and like all of that, we decided in step 8 to moderate, which is to monitor the effectiveness of the solution, which for us we know works. But now that we've integrated within school-wide, have we been receiving any tickets regarding the similar issue? Are we getting any kind of other like feedback? So for us, we utilize that global viewer and enterprise just to kind of see the usage reports, to see if there's any issues that we can find and pull from that data, ticket data especially, or feedback, personal feedback. Like I actually went up to the faculty to be able to talk to them, like, hey, have you experienced this anymore? Is it just completely gone and fixed? And from the people that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, like I forgot about that because it's been a while, and I know we've been experiencing it for actually quite a bit of time, but they just never reported it until they got frustrated. So I think we gave it like several months just to kind of monitor and be like, okay, I think we're good. And in theory, right, like if you do all of these things, it should never happen again. Oh yeah, go ahead, question.
I don't need a deep answer. I'm curious, what do you pull from GVE when you look at or something like the problem you're describing? I don't know what it reports.
Yeah.
I know it's a monitoring software.
Good question. I think I might have accidentally snuck that in there. I don't think we really utilize GV. It's more the ticket data and like phone calls. Yeah, good catch. X that out. GV is more like, at least in terms of for us getting the reports, is like what inputs are being used and like how long. So that's kind of what we use for GV. So yeah, I think I accidentally added that. Good catch. Thank you. Yes.
So GVE, you can get info, but you have to load it into code to get it actually.
Okay, we've used it for like lamp hours and simple things.
Yeah.
Show, but I was wondering on the audio side.
I mean, if you definitely have more information on that, we would love to know because we're still getting, I think we just implemented GVE, so we're trying to still figure out the capabilities of it. And it seems like there is a lot, but there's just so much. It's hard to kind of figure that out and see what we actually want implemented. But I'm pretty sure I just accidentally added that. I know, just type it in. I just go in automatic mode. So step 9, you celebrate, because in theory, this will never happen again because we figured it out. No one's reporting anything. It's been several months. We've gone through the whole semester, now almost 2 semesters, with that similar issue never being reported. So congratulations. You can throw a parade for yourself. or just have a pizza party like everyone does. But in all seriousness, I think the key takeaway to celebrate is, being acknowledged for your work. I mean, a lot of faculty kind of feel like AV or IT is like just behind the scenes, some like ghosts, phantom figure that just comes and goes when they're like not in the classroom. But being able to just be face to face and being able to just be in contact and with the departments, with the faculty, and just keeping them updated. And honestly, that's just like a boost of your confidence, as well as gaining the trust of your clients and be like, hey, they were able to actually hear my empathize like with our issue that we're going through, like how like they'll kind of remember your name. You'll be able to like give like good your team, your AV team gets like a little bit of a good reputation now. And I think that's like very important, and especially if you have like newer technicians that are like still trying to learn, or you even have student employees that you guys utilize, I think that's a huge win for them. So celebrate. So I know, or maybe some of you have noticed, or that there was 9 steps. So where's the 10th step? It's actually to communicate. And this is kind of foundational for all of these steps. It's kind of like not a true step, I should say, but it is the foundation of articulating, every step that we go through, being able to evaluate and brainstorm. How do we figure this out? How we're communicating with manufacturers, vendors, your own technicians, faculty, department leads, the dean's office, maybe even like all of that. Communications is interwoven in through all those steps. So step 10, as Dr. Evil says, is communication is key. So like I said, it's interwoven into all these steps. It's essential in efficiently and effectively resolving these issues. And whether it's empathizing with people, whether it's understanding them a little bit better, or being a little patient with them as they're as we did our little icebreaker, trying to figure out what they're trying to actually say and not just kind of jump to conclusions. I think that being able to communicate and being patient and being understanding all kind of works to the technician's favor, right? The AV team's favor. And honestly, even simply just if it's taking a long time, just being like, hey, I'm still working on this. Just giving them like a progress update. Like even if you haven't worked on it for a while, just them knowing that, oh, it's still on your mind. I think that gives them, they give us a little bit of grace as they hear, okay, like they haven't totally neglected this issue and this problem. So it does make a world of difference, at least in terms of what we've experienced with our faculty, that just being able to provide constant updates, whether it's a big win or successful step forward, or whether it's like, oh, we missed something, so it might take a little longer than what we anticipated. I think all of that being communicated is very important. So some of the lessons learned for us, especially for me, kind of what we just talked about: regular communication with clients, keep them informed with everything, and don't hesitate to seek for help, to collaborate with whether it's different departments, vendors, manufacturers. I don't see anything wrong with asking other people, even Googling things or ChatGPT. I'm like, I don't know what this problem is. Like, what do you think, ChatGPT? I've definitely asked. Some of the responses are pretty good, actually. But also, successful solutions can be reached in many different ways. And like I said before, there were two like actual solutions for us to be able to kind of implement, but we ended up choosing what was best for us and what made the most sense for us. And this is something that we utilize every time, whether it's a very simple fix, like you get a call from a professor saying, hey, the computer's broken, like kind of what you shared earlier is like the monitors or like it's just a black screen, like what are we going to do? Like something like that. For those that are like experienced veterans, seasoned AV technicians, you might be able to do this in like 30 seconds, like go through all these steps. For maybe someone that's new, you might have to take some time to go through each step to kind of fully understand, like, okay, I get this, whether it's learning more of like the signal flow and how it actually works, or like how does this room work? Why is this plugged in this way? So like, I think depending on your level, some people will go through like steps 1 through 5 in like half a second, because in their head, like, I've seen this before, I know this. But this is just kind of like a good way to visualize and articulate to whether it's someone you're training, onboarding. I think that's another really good tool for people that are new onto your team, that are not maybe familiar with AV as much as you. And then also, if things, as you're troubleshooting and you're like stuck on a point or one of those steps, you're like, I've tried all of these things, like what's wrong? Honestly, just retroactively just kind of referring back to like, okay, maybe I missed a step. And I think that's something that, you know, I believe that all these 10 steps, like if you're missing one or if something's not going right, you're probably missing one of these steps. And kind of like this loop, you try, if you fail, all right, try again until you hit that success. Which luckily didn't take too long for us, but I know some cases they're like a much bigger scale, and luckily we haven't experienced that yet. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't. But I don't know, in your schools or your wherever you guys are at, have experienced something in a bigger scale. But yeah, any questions? Yes.
So I was just wondering, you know how we utilize Google ChatGPT a lot to try to find solutions to
Yeah.
particularly questions like this.
Yeah.
Oddball things.
Yeah.
You would have never known about the 5 punch
Yeah.
unless you would have. Do you ever think about when you have an issue similar to that to give back to the community and post that someplace?
Ooh.
Like on the chat board that is specific to that device that you might be using?
Well, that's actually, I haven't thought of it.
I tend to do that when I discover problems that are weird like that.
Yeah.
And I know that I've done a pretty solid Google search, or I'll figure it's not out there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it out there in case somebody else needs it.
No, that's actually really smart. I think that's we have like a running Google Doc or like some training documentation, but sometimes people don't want to read through all of the doc because it could be like multiple pages. But I think, yeah, maybe taping it on the actual like amp and be like, if something's wrong, we're like, oh, there's something here, and just being able to quickly see. I think that is a wonderful idea.
That's one thing about internal. I mean,
Yeah.
once you figure it out, you have that, but it's usually like a one-time kind of deal.
Yeah.
But, 3 years, 4 years from now, that device goes away, you get a new one.
Mhm.
Nobody knows the wiser. You just forget about it.
Yeah. Or you have like,
It's out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Somebody else might have one and experience it. And
definitely.
just one of those things I like to do. As that, I don't know if there's an 8 word for it, but
Yeah.
there's the 11th step. If it's not out in the community, kind of try to get it out there.
I gotta think of the 11th step now. But yeah, and also like there's a lot of AV teams have a high turnaround rate, right, in terms of employees. So you might have a brand new team and no one knows, again, it's just kind of like back to zero. So having that documentation and preparing for whoever may come is also very important. But yeah, thank you for sharing. Were you raising? Did you raise your hands? Yeah.
When you say put it out there, what kind of like forums are you on? Is it like product specific or like AV Reddit or like?
Well, so I'm not really. I mean, I
Yes,
I'm
Reddit.
So I don't do a lot of AV, but I do a lot of troubleshooting for science equipment.
Oh.
And so usually you have a board, like if it's a Extron device, whatever, you know, you go to their website, they usually have a chat board or something like that, or a Reddit. Sometimes you can find a Reddit if you're Google searching, and it might be the appropriate chat to put it on. But I try to associate it with usually the vendor's site, if at all possible, or a Reddit site that seems like it would come up in my Google search had I.
Like when you looked it up.
Yeah, when I looked it up, there's a bunch of others, but nothing about the device I'm looking for.
That's smart. Yeah. Yes.
I've seen people do, outside of AV,
Yeah.
I've seen people do just like super short YouTube videos.
Oh, that's good.
Like
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
That's
a little bit more lazy.
I think they're that quality. It's took their cell phone, they're like, hey, have you had this amp and it's been randomly turning off, boom, and like that's it.
Yeah.
But I've seen that like outside of that.
That's a good idea too.
I think that also
Yeah.
is easier to come across.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you go down a Reddit forum or something, you kind of have to know that. But if
Yeah.
it's a YouTube video, you can just go to YouTube and just like, how do I change the brakes in my car? And there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
million videos of
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You can just, I'm starting to use YouTube more for those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a problem with his amp,
Yeah.
and it's surprising the number of videos that are out there doing just that. So I took the phone and said, hey, we have this problem, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's like, I think for me, I'm like a visual learner, right? So being able to read like 5, it's like you have to hit this little button 5 times. Like, what button you're talking about? Like, where is it? It's so small that it was hard to even see. But then if you had a video, it's like, it's right here. You don't have to say much. You just, with a little like paper clip, you can just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff I am troubleshooting is code-based, so there's not really a lot of video component to it. It's not really something you can see. It's more of a
Yeah. Yeah.
code-based thing. Hey, you need to put this flag in there when you're
Uh-huh.
booting up or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw your hand raised first. Yeah.
Something that is common that happens a lot is somebody reports an issue,
Uh-huh.
send someone to check it out. You're not able to replicate the issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you say, close the ticket, couldn't replicate.
Yeah.
So important to, when that happens, to reach out and say, let's have someone meet you. Because,
Yeah.
if you go through the process, sometimes they don't explain what it is.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, it does take some time to kind of like go through all of that, or even like be willing to try to find like the root cause. And sometimes, yeah, it's just like I wasn't able to do it, like what you said, and it's been like a couple weeks and it hasn't happened again. So if the report comes back, like, or just if the issue comes back, just let us know again. And that's like the best we can do. But being able to like communicate that with them is like so important. But yes,
Disseminate.
there we go.
That's a good one.
All right. Next year, I will just add one more step. 11 steps, 8, disseminate. That's actually really good. Well, thank you, everyone. This was great. I appreciate you all.